going, but now we're back.
Hey, yeah, it's been a while, but
Okay, so
okay.
here's what happened. I was dog sitting and I wasn't feeling good because I didn't have my medication. Then all of a sudden, my iPhone just stopped working completely.
Oh
So I had to go
no.
get a new one, and I was super stressed. And then, you know what I did the next day? I went to go step down off of a stair, and I twisted my ankle. That's all I did. And all of a
Oh
sudden, it's like,
God.
oh God, I'm in a lot of pain. It wasn't broken, thankfully. I just had to rest. But, like, I had a very stressful week. And then Jad went to a convention with our friend John and his girlfriend Christine. So they were out having fun. They got something signed for me, which I'm really excited about. So it's like,
Aw.
we've just been so busy, and I didn't want, it's like, Jad said, like, oh, I'm going to be getting ready for the convention. I was like, okay, I don't want to, make him have to worry about stuff when he's going off to have fun. And he had a blast. He showed us, you got a bunch of stuff signed by Charles Martinet, right?
Yeah, Charles Martinet, John DiMaggio.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's like, oh, this stuff costs money to get signed. It's worth it for us because we're nerds. But, okay, so this is interesting because, see, I originally thought, like, this is, I think, a really obscure film. I thought, like, a lot of people hadn't heard about it. But, Jad, you said you watched this as a kid?
Yeah, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I
Like-
did too. I had this on VHS.
Yeah, I think it did better on home media than it did in
We're
film.
gonna talk about that in just a second. This is Little Nemo-Adventures in Slumberland. So, for those of you who don't know, Little Nemo is kind of, I guess, important to, like, the world of
Comic
comics and
strips
animation.
and animation, yeah.
Yeah. So Winter McKay, he's considered a legend among comic artists and animators. He was born in Canada, but his birth date is unknown. It was like they didn't have I guess a defined birth date for him, which kind of makes sense because, like, record keeping was not as good as it is now.
So his first animated film was called Goody the Dinosaur, which was like groundbreaking in terms of animated film. I think it might have been the first American to actually make an animation. Like, the way it would work is he would perform on vaudeville on stage while the projector screen would film his animation of Gertie the dinosaur, and he would pretend to be her tamer, giving her commands. And
Yeah.
the character
I'm not sure
Little
what
Nemo
it
was
is
originally introduced in
exactly.
another one of his works, Dream of the Rare Bit
So Little
Fiend.
Nemo's Adventures in Slumberland obviously features a little boy named Nemo who falls asleep and has surreal, fantastical adventures. The comics were extremely popular. They inspired a theater show, a silent animated film, and an early live-action film in 1984. So Little Nemo was a humongous hit.
And in 1989, an animated musical directed by Masami Hata and William Hertz debuted. It was a collaboration between American and Japanese filmmakers. Animation was done by Tokyo Movie Shinsha, or as it's now known as TMS Entertainment. The studio is best known for handling the anime franchises such as Lupin the Third and Detective Conan, known outside of Japan as Case Closed. However, they also did a significant amount of commission works for many American studios such as DiC, Disney, and Warner Brothers. The latter of which, they actually animated a lot of the 90s cartoons such as Tiny Toon Adventures,
seen them before, we just didn't know it was
Animaniacs,
them.
Batman the Animated Series.
So this is interesting. The idea for the film came from the TSM president at the time, Yutaka Fujioka. He hoped the film would help Japanese animation break out in the international market. And you know what might have? Like, we mentioned this film did a lot better on home video than it did in the theaters. But throughout most of the 80s, the film was in development hell. It had many different scripts, many different writers, and even directors who were involved in it at one point. We have George Lucas, Chuck Jones, Ray Bradbury, the author, the guy who wrote Something Wicked This Way Comes, and a lot of other really fantastic horror pieces. Aizo Takahata, Brad Bird of The Incredibles, Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnson, even Hayao Miyazaki, who the latter described his experience of the film as one of the worst of his career. Ouch. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's not the only one who had a bad experience with this film. Brad Bird, years later, talked about his experience working on a film where the storyboard honors were adapted the screenplay from a writer, but the writer claimed that he was adapting the storyboards into a screenplay. So, you can tell there was a lot of miscommunication, and Bird realized how messy the film was turned out to. He decided to leave. And in the final film, Chris Columbus and Richard Outten are credited as the writers. Columbus wrote movies such as Gremlins and The Goonies, and he would go on to direct films such as Adventures in Babysitting, the first 2 Home Alone movies, and even the first 2 Harry Potter films. Outten would write some less well-received films such as Lionheart and the remake of Journey into the Center of the Earth.
He apparently also worked on the film, and so did the legendary music composers, the Sherman Brothers. They wrote songs for the movie.
Yeah, the film would go on to receive mixed reviews. Many of them praised the animation and visuals, but the story was the main source of criticism. And it was also a box office bomb, grossing 9 million yen against a 3 billion yen budget. It led to the president of TMS to resign, as well as the studio accepting freelance work from American studios. However, the film would find better financial success on home video, selling 1.5 million copies on its initial release.
That's how I watched it.
The English sub of the film would even be uploaded to TMS's official YouTube channel, and once the studio managed to recover, they began to focus more on the anime franchises.
I don't think Detective Conan's ever going to end.
But still going on to this day.
So I think I might be a little biased because I grew up with this film. I kind of love it. However, I realized that I think I watched an edited version. Because there were some scenes in here, it's like, I don't remember watching this part. Interesting. Maybe, but here's the thing I think as we're going to get in. I think one of the issues
guess it was cut for time
I've read some of the Little Nemo comics. Nemo doesn't have much of a personality. And we're going to get into that when we get into the movie. Because, okay, I don't remember the name of this song. But it was really pretty. Whoever was singing it did a really good job. Do you remember what it was called? I think, yeah. And
crap if
I don't know why they did this.
It's simply called Little Nemo.
To maybe introduce people to how surreal Little Nemo's life is. And it's kind of like inferred that his dreams are extremely real to him, or that the things actually happen. But it starts off this is another thing. His bed is sort of also like a character. Yeah.
Even in the original comic strips, used it as a way to get around, it would fly, and even
then all of a sudden he goes
along
to
and walk around.
Sort of desolated city or something. It is.
And I will give him this: the animation is impressive. The president of TMS says they want to have it be Disney quality and move away from how anime was a little stiff at times.
When they were still doing
it definitely shows here.
The old-fashioned way, by hand. So, yeah, it is very beautiful. I think the only issue is that if, maybe you had a kid, they might find this kind of boring. And it is a little intense because... Is it a train that starts following him? Yes, and see, then he runs and he's like, "Mom, he gets back to his house, like, Mom, we gotta get out of here." His mom's not responding.
He's chased by a train out of nowhere.
So it's kind of doubly freaky. But then he falls out of the bed and he like picks up his toy train and okay. So then this part is a little confusing. I don't know if Icarus is in the.
It's all a nightmare. Oh, sure. Okay, right. So the fly. He has a pet flying squirrel named Icarus. I feel like
maybe they thought he needed a sidekick, but technically he kind of already had one, didn't he?
Yeah, it was kind of just scratching off the checklist of what an anime movie
also,
has.
It kind of felt like marketable character.
You could just remove Icarus and nothing would be lost.
If this movie had been super popular, plushies of Icarus would have been everywhere. Because I have to admit he's pretty cute with his little flying hat. But Nemo, there's a parade and it's obvious the circus is coming in, and in a and you were there moment, we see characters that are going to appear later. We see the professor. He's on this little, he's playing, what is it? Oh, an organ. And there are a bunch of clowns with him that all look similar to another character named Bon Bon. Then we see the princess, who I don't know if she's supposed to be an acrobat or whatever. And then Nemo gets hit by a clown on a rolling ball. And then the ringmaster obviously looks like another character who's going to show up. We'll talk about him in a second. So then he runs to his dad. He's like, Papa, let's go to the circus. And his dad's like, no, I gotta work. And that was kind of it. I'm like, what was the point of this? It felt... Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm done talking.
Okay, so here's...
Yeah, go into the next scene.
No, go ahead. I was gonna go into the next scene, but, okay. So, this was a scene that wasn't in the VHS I watched as a kid.
Right, the pie.
Nemo pretends to sleepwalk as he makes his way down the stairs, and... Oh yeah, back then it was like an ice box, as is what they call the fridge, and... There was even a note on it saying, and from his mom, to keep his promise of not eating pies after bed. Yeah. But, of course, he breaks his promise against Condi Act, and he just lets us to bed.
Why they took that out, but best. But then we get into, the movie proper. Nemo is asleep. He's...
The organist from his dream, he appears to him and introduces himself as
he is also
Professor Genius.
Yeah, he's from the comics. I'm like, is this guy actually... Yep, he originated in the comics.
Is this another...
He's the right-hand man to King Morpheus. His main jobs are to look after the princess, Little Nemo, make sure the king's things are in order. All right. So he's this very tall man with a tall hat and everything, and he... actually doesn't seem like that bad of a guy. I kind of feel bad for him, watching this as an adult, because this man's just trying to do his job. And Nemo and another character make that hard for him. There's also a girl named Bon Bon. She's, dressed kind of like an old fashion clown. She's got poofy, cotton candy-like hair. She's really cute. Okay, so I thought this scene was this part was dumb, is that... So, King Morpheus has a daughter, Camille, and she requires a playmate, and Bon Bon's a boy?
I'm just reading up. Bon Bon is a boy,
I didn't mean to misgender you. Because I don't know if they ever called Bon Bon a boy or girl in the movie, but
no,
Bon Bon has a present from the princess, but see, first Nemo says, I've never played with a girl before, and I'm like, what? You don't go to school? Do you only play with boys? It was such a weird thing. And I'm like, I don't think it... I guess so. Yeah, I guess.
It was the early 1900s, so I'll give him slack on that. But then, while Nemo's hesitant, he accepts
just,
when
like,
he
welcome him
learns
in,
that
that's all it takes.
the princess
But to be
has
fair,
gave
those cookies
him
do look really
cookies
good.
as a gift.
And then I do like this scene. They're on a dirigible, and for those of you who don't know, that's another name for a zeppelin. They were these big inflatable balloons. I don't know if they still make these. But like most people know them as a zeppelin or an airship. I don't know if they still make them. I think, yeah, it says they still make them, but they're very rare. It's more like a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Novelty now. But they get on their dirigible, and for some reason, the captain lets Nemo drive. I don't know how old Nemo's supposed to be. I was thinking maybe he's like 8, 9, maybe. Yeah, let's let the child drive this machine that's full of hot air, and if it gets hot, we're all going down. Yeah, that's a great idea. And then, go ahead.
But they get into this storm where it's revealed. Well, first we get a brief glimpse of the main villain, the Nightmare. But the captain manages to surprise them out, and they make their way to Slumberland, where everyone is greeting them. And it's...
Yes,
and that's where we also introduce to another character, Flip, who's actually from the comics. He's
Yep.
he's a mischievous clown voiced by
I hate to break it to you, but
Mickey
Winter McKay
Rooney.
was not a perfect man. He was a tad racist. Apparently, as I was doing research for this, Flip was supposed to be an Irishman. And you guys are like, wait, what? Well, there was a lot of racism towards the Irish back in, like, the olden days. A lot of racism towards the Irish. He was supposed to be a stand-in for an Irishman.
A what?
Yeah. Okay, no, you know what's worse is, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a character...
How did I not know that?
He's not in the movie, thank God. But, yeah. But here's the thing. It's not as, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, like, in this, I feel like with the way they sort of changed the character... Thank God he's not in the movie.
Oh!
So, yeah, I guess and, like, Flip in the comics is a bit more of an antagonist, kind of. But in this, he seems more like a... What's the word? Yeah. He also has a crow that he flies on. I feel so sorry for this
more
bird,
mischievous.
but we'll get to that. Yeah, so... Then, okay, so this is a scene I really like.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're introduced to Flip, and they open a door, and all the furniture is on the ceiling. Nemo falls from... Wait, what are we missing?
Oh, no, you're getting ahead of yourself. Hang on.
They
yeah.
Yeah, they think it's him.
Well, he's introduced to the king,
I guess to,
King
like, get out of
Morpheus.
his duties, he
but
put his
the
kid
throne
on the throne, so it looks like he's sitting there until they turn it around and he's not there. And even the professor goes, "Oh my God, not again!" And I'm just like, "Again? Does he do this often?" Because they're like, "Okay, we gotta go find the king," and somehow Flip is inside the castle. I don't know how it got in there, but okay. I think there's a lot of, like, what is it, secret doors and everything. I said, Flip somehow got into the castle. I'm not sure how.
How was that? Sorry. Yeah, and when he tries to introduce himself
and then
to
he pulls out another one. It's like,
Nemo, he accidentally shows off a map of Nightmare Land.
I did think it was funny because Nemo goes, "You're Flip, you're a frightful fellow," because that's what the professor called him. I'm like, that is kind of what a kid would do. If you, like, introduce someone a specific way, they would be like, that's how they would they would say it like that. And then, so Flip again, I think he's just sort of there to be a rabble rouser to start shit. Because he takes Nemo to the room I was talking about, the one where all the furniture's on the ceiling. And I think they jump onto a table, but Nemo and Icarus fall and they land on a staircase that leads them to this room filled with toys. And there's a lot, but... No, you go ahead.
Yeah, and then... Sorry. And that's when an old man, almost like Santa Claus, who is supposed to be the ringleader from Nemo's dream, and when he helps
the piston gasket,
him, and Nemo helps him with the
because he's like
Yamada,
something sounds
and
wrong.
Both go for a ride.
Like, maybe it's
on
this.
it.
No, maybe it's this. But then
The
Nemo
piston
comes up and goes,
gasket.
maybe it's the piston gasket. It's like, oh, the piston gasket. So they fix the train. So this is King Morpheus. I actually really like this introduction to Morpheus because he comes off as very childlike. Yes, but you'll see later that there's more to him to that. But like, he comes off as this very. Like, I think that's one of the reasons he kind of looks a little like Santa Claus, is they wanted to make him very warm and inviting. And like, whenever I see some man with a big white beard, I just automatically feel a little happy, even if it's like not, it's like it's not Christmas, but I trust you. And there's a few things here. So not only was Nemo brought to be, Princess Camille's playmate, but apparently he's also going to be
the prince,
his sole heir, meaning that he's going to inherit the throne. Now, there's just a few things, again, as an adult, I have some questions. Why did he choose Nemo? How did he know about Nemo? And Morpheus, you have a daughter. She's the princess. Why does Nemo get to inherit the throne and not Camille? My questions need answers.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah.
That... How did I forget the key? Sorry, I'm also catching up with... That's a little... trying to boost my memory. So the king gives Nemo a gift. It's a key that can open any door in Slumberland, but he specifically wants him never to
Why would you give
open
this to
a door
child?
that has symbol
bad
shaped like
idea.
a key, and it's like this golden
He's
dragon
not emotionally
thing.
mature enough to make big decisions. Why did you give him this? Okay. And then we sort of have one of those... this was something that was kind of popular in a lot of old media from like the 80s and the 90s. It's like, oh, stupid girl. Oh, stupid boy. Well, we're finally introduced to Princess Camille. She makes fun of... Go ahead. No, the princess is in the
She was
comics.
made just for the movie,
like I said,
right?
I've read some.
Like,
The whole thing about needing a playmate, that's from the comics.
No?
I don't know if her name was Camille. It might have been something else. I'm not 100% sure. Let me see. But yeah, so the princess starts making fun of first she makes fun of Nemo because Nemo is in his pajamas, but she thinks it's his underwear, which kind of makes sense because they used to have that long sleeve like underwear with the legs and everything. But he was taken, in the middle of the night.
Yeah, long johns.
He kind of defends himself. There's like this scene. I felt like the scene was a little confused because one moment he likes her, then the next moment he doesn't, and then she insults Icarus by calling him a rat, then Nemo accidentally calls Icarus a rat, which makes Icarus super angry, which I kind of understand because a squirrel and a rat are different. Then let's see. Icarus climbs up. What does he climb up? Icarus climbs up something, doesn't he? Yes, a huge fountain. He climbs up it.
Fountain. There's a fountain, yeah.
And then Nemo grabs him, but he falls. Camille catches him, and then everything is hunky-dory. There's another... Wonderland, Sumberland. Like, that's a really
another
lonely
song,
part
but you can barely hear it over the dialogue and music
Sumberland.
and sound effects.
That part's the part you really can only hear. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a bad song, but like we said, it's just we can't hear the actual lyrics because there's like it's Bon Bon, Nemo, and the princess. They're in this what are they in? It's some sort of like it's very bouncy goats, and there's a frog in the front.
Carriage with goats
instead of wheels. This is a fun
wheels.
little scene. I think this was like a let's show some of the cool stuff we can do. There are these things in the air. I'm not so sure what they're supposed to be. Maybe.
Fine.
See what happens
it's
is the
like
kids get stuck in these little
flower
spheres.
rockets
The
and balls bouncing
pop off
around.
And they like ram into each other. And then the rains except
then
like,
fast back to that ball mini
but,
game for Mario Party.
It starts to rain. Apparently the weathermen control the clouds and they're upset that they're having fun. Bon Bon calls these pretty wings to come fly them away. Then they're like up above the clouds. It's a fine little scene. I think it was just to be like, let's show off our animation, what we can do, blah, blah, blah. And, okay, now this is, I think, actually the best song in the entire movie. I've remembered it, and it's like, when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, you got to get some Ed. It's like, oh my gosh, I remember the lyrics, like, because it's the best song in the movie, you know, since Nemo's gonna be the heir to the throne, instead of the princess, the professor's like, okay, it's time for your school, and he's like, what? It's like, well, you're gonna be a prince, you gotta learn some stuff, and there's a bunch of people, and he's like, who are these people? It's like, oh, these are your teachers, and they all start singing about, you know, if he wants to be a prince, he's got to get the right etiquette, and first is, he has to learn how to eat, you know, you can't slurp your soup and all that good stuff, then he has to learn, okay, so I don't know if they did this on purpose or if they just didn't think it through. But see, the lady who's teaching him to dance is a very curvaceous woman. And Nemo's so short, she's basically like manhandling him. His face is right between her boobs. I see that the thing she like throws him and he like twirls away, and then she does the same thing to the professor, and I'm like, I don't think he can breathe, ma'am. I think you just like smothered the professor. And then
and then there's the swordsman, the library, horseback riding,
he's getting manhandled.
They literally
like,
all start to blend together
thrown back
at
into
that
the
point.
Dancing lady. He's like, not again. And they get a little more, what's the word? Like frantic, and they end the song, and like they had a curtain covering them. The curtain like falls because everything got so crazy. And Nemo like ran away while this was all going on. He's like, I gotta get out of here. This is crazy. And then Flip finds him.
They run into Flip again, and Flip convinces him to go with him instead, even have him wear his top hat and
I thought this scene was
play
funny.
hooky. And that's where they cause some pranks on the local police, even though Flip has some massive bounty. Like, while the cops are sleeping at post, he gives one of them a rack, and they all begin to rack each other, and break into a fight.
Poor Flap.
And they get chased by the police, but manage to escape on Flap. And let's see. And at a band, there's this big brontosaurus holding up a tent for a band, and
I couldn't
help but wonder if this is like
a
subtle reference to Gertie the dinosaur, because it's the same type of dinosaur.
Almost like she looks almost, you know, like exactly like Gertie from the animations that we've seen.
Yeah, and also Flip also prematurely sets up the fireworks for the celebration that night.
You know what I find like really fascinating? Flip is literally smoking a cigar. He has a cigar in his hands almost the entire time. I'm like, there's no way they could have done this now. Because they're so anal about this kind of stuff. Because that's how he sets off the fireworks, is that he uses his cigar to light one of them.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like in the original comic strips, he's always smoking as well.
Couldn't do this now.
Like always has a cigar in his mouth.
And then we get to some of the more darker aspects of the movie. So remember how we mentioned that key?
Oh, yeah. As they give the police the slip, they go down into this dark cavern.
And remember, he was told not to open this door.
A door with the exact same symbol.
Door that has this symbol on it.
And
so...
well, of course, Flip being Flip just ignores it and
since
manages to convince Nemo that he just wants a peek inside.
Flip is a very, very bad influence. And they open the door, and some stuff comes out of the door. It's very... I would say the animation on this... I guess like miasma, this nightmare merc is really well done. We'll see it more, but like just seeing it, it's like, oh wow, that like they put in a lot of detail just for this. They rush back to the castle. They are very, very late. Professor Genius is like done with this because he's like, you just barely made it. So this is Nemo's coronation, which is like, you guys just met today, but okay, whatever. I'm not a royal. And so in this we meet, we see King Morpheus again, and this time we kind of understand why he's the king, because there's a magic scepter, the royal magic scepter, that is extremely powerful. I think this scene is really well animated, and it does a good job of showing off the magic of the scepter. The king starts to recite some magic words, and it releases like this beam of light in the air, and everybody's watching, and the king says, the power of the scepter is so great, but since Nemo is so young, I'm not going to give it to him. Oh wait, does he? Well, no, he does give it to him, but didn't he say something like he's not ready to like be the protector of Sumberland just yet?
Just yet.
Like, because he's got to learn how to control the scepter. And
yeah,
the thing is I guess the professor really likes to dance because he gets like really excited, and he starts like busting a move. And at first the music was really soft and slow, but then they pick it up. But then like Morpheus is like, well, I can't let the professor, show me up at my own party, and they start dancing. It's a fun little scene, but see, so I mentioned like how Nemo doesn't have like much of a personality. I do like that when he realizes like the responsibility and trust the king has given him, he's like, I have to go get the keys. Like, he realizes he made a big mistake. However, he doesn't get there in time. Well, no, he gets there, but it's too late, right? Like, the nightmare's already come out.
Yeah, like
it's like it's black
and it's like this
liquidy
almost
looking,
like
but
a
the way they
smoke
like drew it looks so
almost
alive. Like you know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, have you ever seen like a bunch of ants all together? And how it kind of reminds me of like that. And they're trying to like, so the party is like in full swing. Nemo runs back to try to stop the nightmare, and he's trying to get to Morpheus, and even Icarus tries, but one of the like tendrils wraps around a woman's leg. She screams bloody murder, which I would have done the same thing. It's like, oh my god, what is happening? Everyone's freaking out, and of course it goes after Morpheus. And I'm gonna say, if you guys do want to watch this film with kids, you might want to skip this scene, maybe just because it is a little scary. Like, so it also explains to me why I have such an obsession with like goopy monsters. But like, it wraps around Morpheus and it kidnaps him. But here's, I think, also a really another scary part is, I think, does someone blame Flip and then Flip blames Nemo?
Yeah, because it's
Here's
yeah.
the thing.
Flip
I
and
still say it's
Nemo
mostly Flip's fault just because Flip is older than Nemo.
Blaming each other.
I mean, Nemo did have the key, but he's a child. You can't expect him to, not be peer pressured. But yeah, and all the like party goers are going Nemo, 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 and they like close in on it. I'm like, oh, no, thank you. And then we have some more creepy scenes because he.
Yeah, cause Nemo wakes up in his bed, but then he starts hearing his name Nemo, and a crow comes out of the icebox, and it bursts open and floods the house.
And we even see like King Morpheus's face in the water, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They are guilt tripping this child so hard. And then, but thankfully, we see Professor Genius in the water, and somehow the magic scepter came with Nemo. I think they thought it was lost forever, but Nemo has it. He finds Professor Genius and said, hey, Flip has a knife of Nightmare Land's like, well, we have to get to Sumberland. He's about to be shot into a cannon. And they arrive there where it's like they're putting him in the cannonball, but I don't think
Yeah, like...
Well, he did have a
like
role
Flip was
still
blamed for the opening the nightmare door, and... Yes. But Nemo tells him that Flip has a nightmare of a map of Nightmare Land, and the princess managed to so he convinces the princess not to banish Flip.
So the thing is,
but on the condition that
he's Flip, and
only
Flip
if he hands them the map.
Okay, well, Camille's like, okay, well, you're gonna be like the guide. And I don't know why Flip thought this was a good idea. He starts like mouthing off to the princess. He blows smoke in her face, and then she rightfully decks him. And I was like, if it would have been me, I would have done worse. It's like, you do not blow smoke in my face. Especially you don't do that to a royal. Just because the princess is young doesn't mean you get to disrespect her, Flip. You're so lucky she didn't do worse. But Camille, Flip, Genius, Nemo, and Icarus get on a boat. They find a whirlpool, which leads them to Nightmare Land somehow. But then we also come to find out that the map that Flip made, it's fake. Because
more like it gets damaged by the water, and all the details of the map get washed away.
And what he does, he's like
Flip
off
tries
to
to hide
draw
this
it. I really love this scene because he's like, okay, there's like a forest here, and then like here, and all of a sudden we hear a voice like, no, not there, here. And he goes, oh, thank you. And he turns around to see this tree that's got a bunch of faces, and they all come out, and he's like, he stares at them for a second and then faints.
With multiple faces and
it turns out they're a bunch of goblins, but they're nice goblins. The creatures in the nightmare world are called goblins, but they are the nice ones. Didn't some try to like kidnap the princess earlier? Yeah. They grabbed at her. They were trying to pull her back into the water, but as soon as they saw
like
the scepter,
that, there was that.
Were terrified and they swam off. And we learned that the only thing the goblins and the Nightmare King are afraid of are the scepter. But like these goblins, at first they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're monsters." They're like, "No, we're nice goblins." They're called the Boomps, and their names are Oompa, Oompy, and Oompay.
Boomps, yeah.
I really love these characters. I'm not sure what it is. They have very unique designs, and they can shapeshift.
Yeah, they have neat designs.
It's a really unique kind of power, and it seems that they're like they're like jesters. They're like, we don't want to make people scared. We want to make them laugh, but we had to leave the Nightmare King, but we left one of our friends behind, so we have to go back. Despite being terrified, they want to go back and rescue their friend. So since they actually know the area, the princess is like, okay, you guys are going to be our guide. Flip can carry the luggage, and for some reason, Flip seems really pissed off that he got fired. But it's like the map was ruined, and it almost seems like you didn't really know which way you were going. So, of course, they're going to follow the goblins who live in, the nightmare realm, and everything is fine until night. These.
Yeah,
They did look
Nightfall,
like
where there's kidnapped by those almost
And actually, you know what it reminded me
doggos,
of?
I think. They're like,
The scene in Wizard of Oz when Dorothy gets kidnapped by the
Yeah.
flying monkeys. It feels a lot like that
What?
because everything is dark. It's in a forest, and
oh
Flip,
yeah, I
the
was about to
professor,
say
and the
that.
princess get kidnapped. Now Nemo's trying to use the scepter, but he can't remember all the words. See, it's like it all rhymed. It's like Spasama, Shisama, all that. I think the only thing he can really remember is like pajama. He says it a lot, but he can't remember the entire incantation. He's trying, but he's like trying to fight with them, and I think it's implied that the bat gargoyles dropped him or something. Because he wakes up in his room again, but this time the Boomps are with him, and somehow the last Boomp named Ompo appears. He's a really big one. And he has a letter from Morpheus that contains the entire incantation. Which it's like, why didn't you? I mean, I was like, I kind of want to know how he got that letter out, because we're going to talk about it in a second. Yeah, and I'm not sure where Umpo came from, but
Yeah,
see,
like
the
it was
thing
a letter
is,
from the
since this is a
king.
very surreal story. Like, it's, the source material is weird and surreal. It's like, okay, we can't, it's fine not to question it too much, but I think it was like, oh, we got to finish up the movie. We only have a few minutes left. So
Yeah, so the bed Ed takes him back to to Nightmare Land again, and
there,
this is had a lot of dark fantasy
there's
vibes
this,
to it, which was kind of
huge
neat
like
and
manta ray
was
that's like
very much the style at
Nightmare
the time.
King's, like all seeing eyes. It looks so cool as it's gliding through the air. It's so creepy looking. Also, the design of the Nightmare King is just perfect because it's not too complex, but it's still very intimidating. He also reminds me of the Night at Bald Mountain in Fantasia. Yes, he kind of looks like him. He's like all black. His body is like a pitch black.
Schoenbach,
He's got
yeah.
these like long nails, this big robe, and horns. Ooh, yes, he's so creepy. It's like, again, it's a perfect design because it's not too complex.
And
but he's
piercing
very
red
terrifying.
eyes.
And so when they get to the Nightmare King's castle, they keep hitting these like towers, and we later, and they light up. But we realize that's where he's keeping people prisoner.
Stalactites, it seems
Because
like.
apparently the Boomps had a little hidden place in the Nightmare Castle. And they go into it, and the Nightmare King's like, let me show you my collection. You know, as villains do when they're very cocky and confident. And he shows the professor and Flip and the princess are captured in the stalactites. And he presses his finger against the one the princess is in, and it like starts going all electrified. And of course that pisses Nemo off. He's like, leave her alone. And then he lowers Morpheus from the ceiling in a chain. And I know, now see, I don't want to blame Nemo entirely because, again, he's a kid. But he opens up the door where he was hiding, and he runs to Morpheus to give him the scepter, only for Morpheus to also be caught in prison. So it's like, you just gave your position. Yeah, it's a trap, as General Akbar would say. But then...
Yeah, like it was a trap.
The king is, like, demanding the scepter. He's like, if you give me the scepter, I'll let everyone... Which is, we know that's a lie. He's not going to let them go. And even if we give him the scepter, he'd probably destroy it, so he would never be destroyed. But this end battle is, I think, a really good one, because the incantation is pinned to Nemo's bed. The Boomps are helping him out as they're reading it. But then, this scene actually kind of upset me when I was little, because Icarus grabs the the spell, but he gets sucked into the Nightmare King, and I'm like, oh god, that is actually. It's like I was like, hey Icarus, are you okay? It's like I know I gave you a lot of crap, but please don't be dead. But Nemo manages to properly use the scepter, and I think he like gets. Does he get him in the chest or something? Yeah.
Destroyed the Nightmare King, yeah.
And he explodes into
Yeah,
this big
like-
burst of light, and it just like
And-
engulfs the entire Nightmare Land. But oh no! In the ensuing battle, Nemo gave up too much energy or something. Because also for some reason, I'm not sure. This
Because
was also
we
not
all
in
had
the
to have a
original
fake
VHS
death
I had.
scene.
Icarus tells the Booms that Nemo could die if he uses the scepter, but they never explain why. Is it because he's too young and he can't handle all that power? I don't know. But Icarus finds him and starts crying. The Booms are crying. Camille, Flip, and the professor are released. They all gather him, but thank God King Morpheus is there with his magic scepter, and he brings him back to life because the scepter can just do that. And Nemo says, King Morpheus, it was me who let out the nightmares. And I think, doesn't Morpheus call him My Little Nemo? Yeah. We got a title, ladies and gentlemen. And then it ends with Nemo's heading back home, and Flip just has to continue being a mischievous little scamp. He's on the back of Flap, and he's got this big old fake scepter, and it almost freaking kills him because he starts like
Fake
coughing.
One. That was
and
just a massive cigar.
Flap is freaking out. She's like chasing after him, and I'm just like, Flip, can you please stop making Flap freak out? You are constantly causing this poor crow to get gray feathers because you can't just sit your ass down. But thankfully, Flap catches him, and the princess and Nemo say, "We banish you from cigars forever." I don't think that's gonna hold, but oh well. Then we have this like nice little scene of Nemo like going back home and being like, I love my home. And then the dream ends with her and Nemo sharing a kiss. And I guess it's kind of sweet. But then he wakes up.
Kissing. Yeah. And apologizes to his mom, which was basically the whole moral of the thing, keeping promises. And that's when the father reveals as a surprise that they're going to the circus today.
So again, I am a little biased.
And that's the end of the movie. Yeah, it just ends right there.
Same. Yeah, see,
I remember watching this film a lot, so I kind of have a soft spot to it,
films that are
even if the story doesn't hold
supposed
up.
to sort of be like living, breathing art pieces. It's okay if the story isn't the strongest element. Like, okay, there's I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but I love the movie Moulin Rouge. It's very over the top. It uses like modern music in a like old setting. It's very colorful, and it's not accurate to what the Moulin Rouge actually was, but again, it's like a movie breathing art piece. And I don't think it has a bad story, but a lot of like the visuals are sort of the reason why you're watching the movie, you know? Yeah, like, see, I didn't like the first Avatar movie I've seen. I haven't been interested in the other ones.
Pure eye
but
candy.
I get it. It's like, I understand why people like these movies. It's very pretty. It's gorgeous. And some people, it's like, yeah, the story is crap, but the movie itself is pretty. That can be enough sometime. And I think, like, the issue is that, you know, the comic strips were not, the stories would end when Nemo woke up. So they had to, I think, try to make a plot out of a bunch of comic strips where there wasn't, like, a cohesive story. And I do think they did a decent job. I think it's just, we could have, yeah. See, the thing is like, oh, go ahead.
It's not really a strong story to begin with. Like I said, the storyboard artist thought they were adapting the screenplay into the storybooks, while the writers thought they were adapting the storybooks into a script.
That
so you can see why
talk about
the story
movies
was
that
a
went
mess.
through production hell, you can kind of tell. And it's like, you see, this one I don't think is as bad as some of the other ones. It's like the story is not completely all over the place, but there are a lot of characters. Some of the songs are not that memorable. Like, I think we said the most memorable one is the Prince one. Like, we can't remember the names of the other songs. But also, like, I kind of feel like Icarus didn't really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the booms should have been introduced, like, much earlier, because they're, like, introduced towards the tail end of the film. I felt like maybe we could have cut down on some of the stuff with Flip. I don't, like, there's, like, this movie,
Definitely.
again, it's one that you sort of watch because it's so surreal and fun. But, yeah, I understand why this is, like, considered a cult classic. The animation does really hold up. It's beautiful. If you love animation and you want to know, like, you want to experience more, like, Winsor McKay stuff, I would recommend this. This is, like, probably one of the better things we have reviewed on this show. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah. So what would you give it then?
Yeah, I know. It's just, this is part of my childhood, and even though it's not perfect, I
Oh,
still
wow,
love
that's
it. And
generous.
It's so pretty. But also, the thing is, like, the last 2 things we reviewed were so fucking boring.
Yeah. Personally, I'll give it a 3. Like the story is the weakest is part of the film, but the visuals and animation and even the voice acting, and still guarantees it I watched. Like, this was top-notch animation. And you can tell that the animators were trying their best to break out
There's
to
a reason this film
American
is,
audiences.
considered like a cult classic. It's got, there's stuff that's worth watching here. All right. Oh yeah, totally. Like, just like, and also, like, if you're studying animation,
I say the
or you wanna learn more
animation
about
itself
animation,
is worth
watch
a
this
watch
film.
at least.
Okay, do you want me to go first or you go first? All right, we got to start off with some really sad news. Brian Wilson of the Beach
You go
Boys
first.
dies at 80.
Oh
There's 80 pop-up.
no.
82. Okay, so after forming
2.
Okay, so I didn't know that either. That might have been why we haven't heard from him in such a long time.
It was. Oh, I didn't know he had dementia. Oh
He,
no.
I think, was one of the forming members of the Beach Boys. For those of you who don't know, the Beach Boys are considered to be probably one of the most, like, iconic American bands. And their whole thing was sort of like summer. And you're like, how can that be their entire thing? But it worked. They had so many hits, like
Summer
Surfing
Beach
USA. Oh, yes, I love that sound. Good Vibrations is another really good one.
Under the
Let's make it
boardwalk.
Good Vibrations. Na, na, na. Like,
And
it's just there was something so iconic and I think earnest about their sound. That's why they were so, popular back in the day. And it's just like, I think they also sang Kokomo, Bermuda, Jamaica. Ooh. Again, like, there's just something really charming about their music. So, like, people are gonna be like, "Oh, really? That was their whole thing?" It's like, yeah, that was their whole thing. And
yeah,
they were
that was
very
them.
good at it. But unfortunately, Brian Wilson has passed away at aged 82. Following a battle with dementia, he was suffering from a major neurocognitive disorder, according to his children. Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's. I think that's why we haven't heard from him, is because he was, struggling, and it probably just, it was better for him to be with family. Yeah. Go ahead.
So let's see. Should I continue or? So, in some lighter news, Splatoon is getting a spin-off named Splatoon Raiders.
Shoot.
This is...
Deep Cut, that's what their name is.
What's the name of this band?
There's always a band in each version of Splatoon, and this time it's a trio named Deep Cut. It features a manta ray, and is one an octoling? Yes.
One's an octoling and one's an inkling. So after chasing down a rumor on a faraway island, a trio end up on a deserted island with a big storm. And you play as a mechanic, as you're joined by the trio to explore more the island. And Nintendo promised more details, but for now, they announced that Splatoon 3 is getting not only a Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade, but also a lot more content and weapons.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't get to play the first Splatoon.
Oh, yeah, like, it was a bright spot to come from the Wii U.
I think on my...
Already struggling console.
On my Switch, and I'm like, okay, I understand why this was so popular. It's so colorful, and it's genuinely fun. So, I mean, I know people are going to be excited about this. Okay, so if you guys don't know me, I've been playing The Sims since, like, I was in...
And I don't know much about this.
Love The Sims. I played the original, I played Sims 2. I haven't played Sims 3 yet, but I have Sims 4. And so one of the things that Sims does is they have supernatural Sims. They have vampires, werewolves, aliens, ghosts. Yeah, the Grim Reaper is still a huge part of the game.
When my sister played the first Sims, the Grim Reaper would always pop up, make an appearance.
And, like, every time they make a new pack, it's like they introduce maybe a different type of, like, supernatural sim. But, like, after years of waiting, we're finally getting a playable fairies in the expansion pack that is coming in July. I watched the trailers, and I was just so excited. I'm like, yes, finally, it's called Enchanted by Nature, where you become one with the natural world, with Mother Nature calling them into the beautifully lush and wonderful land of Innsgreen. So, usually, like, with an expansion pack, they will add a brand new neighborhood. So, the new neighborhood in this is going to be Innsgreen, and this is also going to come with a bunch of new items. We've got the apothecary table, where if someone's, like, experiencing an ailment, you can fix something for them. This is the second pack that they've released this year besides business and hobbies. Okay, it's going to be released on July 10th, so next week. Let's see, it's going to be released on the EA app, Epic Games, and Steam, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, and the Xbox Series 1 system. So yeah, I mean, if you if you want it now, want it soon, you can purchase it next week. But for me personally, I would wait for it to go on sale and wait for them to get rid of all the bugs first. I never buy the expansion packs new. I always wait. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're excited about this news.
Oh, yeah. Lost of the Stars Steven Universe spin-off, Lost of the Stars, is announced and in development for Prime Video. Like, this was announced at the NSC Festival, which is awesome. The premier animation festival over in Paris. It's... yeah. It was on a panel they had celebrating in Cartoon Network's anniversary, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they also announced a ton of other stuff in development at Warner Brothers Animation, Cartoon Network Studios, and Hanna-Barbera Studios Europe, which was formerly Cartoon Network Studios Europe. The Amazing World of Gumball's
coming back. I think there's going to be a Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends spinoff too, and I think regular show's coming back, right?
Yep, regular show. It's called details for that regular show with 5 are still under wraps, but the the big news to me is that Rebecca Sugar and their partner, Ian Jones Corley, are returning to Steven Universe for their spin-off, Lost of the Stars, which, of course, focuses on Lars and his crew of misfit gems as they explore the universe and
really
uncover the dark secrets of the fallen gem empire. They're basically a pirate crew in space, smuggling contraband and evading authorities.
Has another project, a YA anime series called Super Mutant Magic Academy, based on the comic of the same name by Jillian Tamaki. Interesting. So he has two things going on for him. Okay, so it looks like we're getting kind of, sort of, like, new stuff. I'm a little, like... See, part of me is torn because I love Adventure Time and Steven Universe and Foster's and regular show, but, like, I don't know. It's a little frustrating that, like, almost all the stuff from Cartoon Network is, like, remakes and reboots. So, it's like, I mean... Go ahead. No, you're good.
Well, you can... Sorry.
Oh,
well, you
job.
can at least turn to Adult Swim for the original stuff, which segues into our next piece of news.
If I could open the... Hang on. Is this the... Oh, shoot. Hang on. Did I click the wrong thing? Hang on. 3 new shows at...
Let's see.
Oh, wait. No. Nope, it's the right one. I think we might have double posted the same... I think we might have double posted. Okay, so... Return. Okay, so we have got 3 new projects announced. This was at ASC 2. One is a special. One is a series. Those are and the third is in development. Okay, from Adult Swim, Smalls. Wait, no. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Adult Swim Smalls is like the short arts program from Adult Swim where they give a bunch of animators a chance to experiment in different one-off shorts. Like, that's how we got the short Opal, and the newest short is a collaboration between 4 juggernauts in modern animation. It's a short called The Elephant, where each act is done by an entirely different animator with no knowledge of what the other one is making. So it'll be comprised by 4 segments. One directed by Rebecca Sugar, who we already talked about. They're a creator of Steven Universe, and they worked on Adventure Time as well. And Ian Jones Corley, who co-developed Steven Universe alongside Sugar, and will go on to make OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. He'll be directing a segment. And the third segment will be directed by Pendleton Wood, best known as the creator of Adventure Time and Bravest Warriors, and The Midnight Gospel as well. And another segment directed by Patrick
they've all worked together before,
who directed the amazing miniseries Over the Garden Wall.
Corley and Patrick all worked on Adventure Time, and that's sort of like how they all know each other. So this is going to be super interesting, and I'm like excited for that one because I mean they're like juggernauts in the animation industry. So this one I think is the one that's I think this is the series that might already be in production. This is called Keeping Up with the Joneses from creators Hugh Davidson, Rachel Ramirez, Larry Dorff comes Keeping Up with the Joneses, a half-hour adult animated comedy that follows the Newberry family as they try to keep up with their staggeringly wealthy adult neighbors, including the one next door, Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboy. The trio previously co-created and executive produced the series The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. That is the entire title. Davison also wrote for the Adult Swim Mike Tyson Mysteries and Robot Chicken, earning an Emmy Award for the latter. Keeping Up with the Joneses is produced for Adult Swim by Warner Brothers Animation. This looks like it's going to be like a satire. Yeah.
And the final series I'm most interested in, or second, I say I'm interested in alongside the elephant, Heist Safari, in development for Adult Swim and Cartoon Network Studios, from the mind of Genndy Tartakovsky. And who is Genndy Tartakovsky? Some of you might be wondering. He worked at Cartoon Network, where he created shows such as Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack and Symbiotic Titan.
The first 3 movies.
And he'll go on to direct the Hotel Transylvania trilogy for Sony Animation. And then the first 3 movies, yeah. And then he returned to Cartoon Network, or should I say Adult Swim, where he created the Emmy Award-winning show Primal, as well as Unicorn Warriors Eternal. And now this is his third show for Adult Swim, Heist Safari.
Wars Clone Wars animated series from the early 2000s. Yeah, he's worked on a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's another series.
Powerpuff Girls movie.
Oh yeah, the miniseries that won him an Emmy.
Flintstone special, Flintstones on the Rocks. This is a man who has a very long history, and he's like another, juggernaut of animation. So, there's not much of it. We just have a picture. We have 3 frogs dressed in like robber gear, holding guns at some other animated animals. So yeah, this looks like it's gonna be good.
Animals. And
oh, thank God.
And in addition to that, Adult Swim announced that they renewed Smiling Friends up to season 5, and how Ninja Kamui, the anime action series, has been renewed up to season 3, and they've given a release date for the Spanish language series Women Wearing Shoulder Pads, created by Gonzalo Cordova, best known for their work on Adam Ruins Everything and Chuka and Buddy.
Okay, so
and it will premiere August 17th at Adult Swim. And it will be exclusively in Spanish. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Pixar announces new original film Gato. Oh, so it's nice to know that even despite having a rocky performance at the box office, Pixar isn't giving up on original ideas just yet.
Possibly rip off, what is it called? Flow? Because
Flow. But aside from that, it doesn't seem like the projects have many similarities, aside from there being a black cat. I can tell that's straight up
Venice. It kind of does look like Venice because of the gondolas.
It's Italy. Yeah, I don't know if it's Venice or not, but yeah, it's directed by Enrico Casarosa, who directed Luca for Pixar as well.
A partial music lover, at least his tale is, and a non-swimming feline who is indebted to a local feline mob boss, Nero, finds himself in a quandary and is forced to forge a truly unexpected friendship with Maya, a street artist who adopts him against his will. Okay, so it sounds like it's going to be about 2 unlikely characters coming together and making friends, which is Pixar's bread and butter.
So I'll keep an eye on this. Hopefully it doesn't go through the same problems that Elio did, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh yeah, I was excited about this. So
you got this one.
I like a lot of the underrated DC characters. I do love Batman and Superman, but there's a lot of really great, fun superheroes that a lot of people don't know about. Mr. Miracle is a character I discovered via I think he originally made his first animated appearance in the Superman animated show, because he's part of the New Gods. But he came to Earth, where he uses his powers to perform illusions and daring feats and everything. That's why he calls himself Mr. Miracle. And he also has a wife named Big Barda, who was also from Apocalypse, but he helped save her. Well, it turns out they're going to be getting their own television show. Yep. And the line is, things start to go horribly wrong with the
Mr.
perfect
Milka,
life
the
that Scott
same
and his
name.
warrior wife, Big Barda, have built for themselves on Earth. Like, one of the reoccurring stories is Big Barda. She was what was called I can't remember what it's called. There's this woman called Granny Goodness, and she had a bunch of like female warriors who she like brainwashed and brought them up from like birth. Yes, her name is Granny Goodness. And she was like
Granny
brainwashed.
Goodness
but
is
Mr.
her name?
Miracle had sort of seen the light, and he helped convince Barda there's more to life than just fighting in vicious wars. Because they're both from Apocalypse. And he kind of like opened up her mind. It's like, hey, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do what Granny Goodness tells you. And because of that, Granny Goodness is like really pissed off at Mr. Miracle because he managed to get Big Barda out from under her influence. But also the place they're from is it's a very unpleasant place. Apocalypse is the home of Darkseid and everything. So it's like, it seems like we're going to get to see more of those characters.
Oh yeah, now I remember her. She was in those DC animated shows back in the 90s.
Yeah, the Flash was helping.
She was in the Justice League cartoon.
Yes, she was. And he did a really
She was voiced by
job.
Ed Asner?
I don't know why. It just worked. It was some of the best casting I think I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, so I'm excited for this because there's a lot of really cool characters from the Apocalypse and New Genesis world. So I can't wait to see this. Not to mention the first like animated show we got, Creature Commandos, was really, really good. So it's like I have no doubt that this is going to be fantastic.
Okay, and let's see. Oh yeah, I added this one. Peter Son to direct Incredibles 3.
I'm so tired. I'm tired.
So, who is Peter
Son? Sequels. And the second one wasn't that good. I'm sorry, it's not good.
I know. And, so, okay, now, Peter Son, he was a long-time animator at Pixar. He even voiced a few characters like Squiggy from Monsters University,
really?
and he actually served as the inspiration for Russell.
Oh my god, he looks like an adult Russell.
And yeah. Now Peter Son, he got his directing start at The Good Dinosaur, which had a tumultuous production, mainly because the previous director, I'm trying to remember what his name was. I'm trying to look. Who was Bob Peterson, and he was he was the originally attached to direct the film. He came out with the concept of The Good Dinosaur, but the problem was he had no idea what to do for the third act. And so Peter Son was basically brought in to basically direct the third act of the movie. But then he got it to direct his own original project, Elemental, which had gone on to be a sleeper hit at the box office. And it's actually based on his experience growing up in America as the
originally
son
didn't
of
really well, but thanks to word of mouth,
Korean immigrants.
Got more attention, and it ended up like making back its budget and everything. So I guess I mean it's not that I don't have faith in him. It's just like I think the issue is like the second Incredibles movie. I don't think it was as strong as the first one. And I just don't know what else they're gonna. I mean, it is a superhero franchise, so it's not like you can't, come up with like more villains or anything. But I just don't know. I felt like The Incredibles was the perfect film. It didn't need a sequel.
Yeah. Now. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Now. Brad Bird is wrote the screenplay for this film. However, he's not returned to direct it because he's committed to directing the film Ray Gun over at Skydance Animation. Shocking. So, yeah, if you can believe it. Like, I don't know. So, anyway, Picture asked him, well, is there anyone who you trust to direct The Incredibles 3? To which he immediately suggested Peter Son, who actually worked as his protege on just about all his films up to Incredibles 2.
The two of them have a close relationship, and he trusts him with this. Okay, all right. I don't know if I'm going to give this a try or not. I am, like I said, I'm a little over all the sequels for both Pixar and Disney, so we'll see. Maybe it'll surprise me.
And this one surprised me, though.
It actually did surprise me.
How to Train Your Dragon remake debuts #1 at the box office. It's been been getting fairly positive reviews for a remake and managed to gross $83 million on its opening weekend in the North American box office, finally dethroning Lilo and Stitch. And in the second weekend, it still managed to beat out Elliot at the box office to hold on to the #1 spot.
Oh, okay.
But it got dethroned by that Formula F1 the movie, which is about Formula 1 racing, which surprisingly also got good reviews, especially since it's the first... Let's see, wait, who made that Formula 1 movie? Apple.
So
yeah, Apple Studios actually did that.
I don't know what's going on at Apple, but they have got some really good stuff. It's kind of weird. It's like in the past few years, a lot of there's a lot of really good stuff on the Apple TV. I don't know if I mentioned this, but they rebooted Fraggle Rock, and it's actually fantastic. It's
and yeah, lately they started producing movies for theaters as well, because they're starting to realize, a lot of these streamers are starting to realize, you know what, maybe releasing a movie with a 9-figure budget straight to streaming isn't a viable business model. How the heck are we supposed to find anything if there's too much? There needs to sort of, I think it's better to space it out, and then another thing is if people were like, hey, I saw this film in theaters, it was really good, that'll help the film when it comes to streaming. I think Sinners is coming to streaming this week, I think. Yes, so one of our friends is like, this is what I'm doing 4th of July, so it's it's just July 3rd.
Just putting all of it on streaming is just it's not helping their figures. Speaking of sequels though and remakes, this I found really interesting. Not everybody knows who Mel Brooks is. We do, because we're nerds and we like old movies. And Mel Brooks is an actor, but he's also a really good director. He directed Blazing Saddles. Oh, yeah. He also...
And writer, don't forget that.
Oh, shoot, what was it called? Yes, that was him.
The producers, as well as the Broadway really, Broadway stage adaptation.
Good movie about it is a comedy film set in World War II, and you're like, how is that a good film? You'd be really surprised. It's about a theater troupe who helps a bunch of Jews escape Nazi Germany, and it's both sad but also really hilarious. He's a master of comedy. And like we said, we mentioned Young Frankenstein, the producers. He's really good at doing spoofs. So one of his most popular spoofs is Spaceballs, and it is a spoof that both Star Wars haters and Star Wars lovers just enjoy, because he's a fan of Star Wars. So it doesn't feel like it's making fun of Wars. It's just it's poking fun at Star Wars, but not in a mean way, and it is so funny because also it has such a fantastic cast. You have the great late John Candy, Rick Moranis as Darth Helmet, Bill Pullman, Joan Rivers was also in it. She was the voice of the robot. It's such a funny movie. Well, after like about 40 plus years, they're making a sequel. Interesting.
Yeah, like Josh Gad is apparently heavily involved in Ron Howard's producing it, and let's see. And Louis Pullman, the son of Bill Pullman, will play the son of Lone Star named Starburst. And also Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis, the lot of which is coming out of retirement and just for this movie.
Kind of the, main
and Daphne Zuniga will reprise her role as Princess Vespa.
Rick Moranis had to go into retirement to take care of his children, so he hasn't acted in anything in an extremely long time. So I'm excited to see him again. But also, we both saw Thunderbolts. And in that, Bill Pullman's son plays Bob. He's a really good actor, so I'm actually looking forward to this because, I remember, when I watched Thunderbolts, I'm like, who the heck is this guy? I've never seen him before. Definitely. He's phenomenal. He must have gotten lucky because I think he did inherit part of his father's talent, but he is really good. So I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic about this. However, I'm saddened about this.
And yeah, so turns out there was a reason why Elio underperformed. Cause it was announced last year that the film would be delayed and be changing directors, where America Ferrera, the original director, a bunch of anonymous insiders at Pixar talked about their experience working on Elio. Originally, it was gonna be having a lot of queer themes with Elio struggling to discover his sexuality, and that he actually likes other boys. But then and Pixar just started removing a lot of the queer themes just because it did badly in the focus groups. Oh God. And they actually spent a lot more money just to reanimate and rewrite and revoice the entire film to remove the queer themes, which made it over budget.
It's not doing fantastic, but it's not doing bad. It's just from the reviews I've seen, they're positive reviews. I'm not seeing anything negative against it. Hang on, let me go to Rotten Tomatoes really quick. I normally don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, but yeah, that's not bad.
It has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Kind of sucks, but it's again, we even talked about the movie we were talking about sort of had a troubled production. You can sometimes tell if a movie has had troubled production. I think people are just saying it's the story might be a little lacking. That's what I've heard from people.
Yeah. So now we know why, because they moved a lot of the hot artists and soul out of this movie.
Now. Ooh, pretty.
Oh, I haven't watched this yet.
It's not live action this time, thank God.
First trailer for The Cat in the Hat.
It actually looks really pretty.
No, it's animated by Warner Brothers, and it's releasing next year. Yeah, I can tell they're going for a stylized look. Although it's not entirely faithful to Dr. Seuss's art style.
It still looks so much better than the Michael Myers movie. It kind of
Yeah, like apparently Bill
him.
Hader is voicing Dr. Seuss. I mean, the Cat in the Hat.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just watching.
Okay, so he's reading the kids and what if he pulls out pepper spray and sprays them at the face? And then the other kid yells, "Stranger danger!" Oh my god.
Apparently, he's supposed to be. He works at the Institute for the Institution of Imagination and Inspiration, LLC. He's apparently helped an organization, and that's meant for a bunch of colorful characters who are supposed to inspire imagination to kids.
Yeah.
But the problem is
like
the cat's imagination
like, the
always runs too wild
too.
compared to his
He
colleagues.
goes a little too far. Oh, Is it thing 1 and thing 2? Yes!
Yeah.
Ah, the hair!
And let's see.
Wait, where's thing 2?
Thing 3.
Oh
2
my
seems to
God.
be missing. Oh, they have a lot more things.
Same, because like if you
Yeah,
guys
so
don't,
this
I
looks
don't know,
interesting.
Like,
I'm
some
gonna
of
be
you probably have no idea what we're
cautiously
talking about when
optimistic
we
about
mentioned
this
the
one.
live action one. There was this weird period of time where they were trying to make all of the Dr. Seuss books live action, and they got 2 made. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna
real
give us a
quick,
little
I just
story
gotta use the
time.
bathroom. I'll let you take it from
So,
here.
like I said,
real quick.
There was this weird thing where they were trying to make live action movies out of everything, and they were adapting all these books, a lot of children's books, to try to make feature-length films. Now, like, the movie Shrek was actually originally a book, and that ended up being a huge success, but they, like, changed the book entirely. But, like, they decided to adapt both How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Cat in the Hat into live action films. Now, the first one, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, despite it not getting like the best reviews when it came out, it's sort of like a cult classic, and they even have the Grinch from that movie at Universal during like Christmas time. And like a lot of people still really like that film, and honestly, I think out of the 2, that one's the better one, because they managed to like explain why the Grinch is the way he is. Not to mention the amazing Jim Carrey plays the Grinch, and it works. But they did it for the Cat in the Hat, and it was like a mess. Okay, so first of all, again, it is a live action movie based on a Dr. Seuss property, and the Cat in the Hat book is a very simple story. You have 2 kids who are extremely bored. The Cat in the Hat comes to entertain him, but he ends up messing up the house. Like, mom is out of the house, and the cat comes to entertain him, but he ends up ruining the house. And for some reason, they got a production designer to direct the movie. This was his first movie, and I think it's the only movie he ever directed. No, art director. He directed some episodes of The Tick, the live-action Tick, Secret Asian Man, and the Series of Unfortunate Events, but I think The Cat in the Hat was like his first and only film, and it's just a mess. Like of course the set designs are really cool, but the movie is a mess. And now they cast Mike Myers as the cat, but just something about the way they made him look, it's really unsettling. I don't know why. I think it's because he's a cat, and like he still has his human teeth and human eyes and stuff. It was also a massive failure. We're probably eventually gonna talk about this movie on our podcast, but yeah, the movie did not do well. But it was a huge failure. So, and see, the thing is, the reason I brought this up is that the reason we got like the animated Lorax and the animated Grinch is because Dr. Seuss's widow said, "I will not let you adapt my husband's work into a live-action film again." That is how bad it was. Okay, now we're going to move on to some more fun things. Both of my recommendations are anime. I feel kind of bad, but it's like I haven't read a lot of books recently. So the first one is... Well, actually, no. One is an anime. I'm going to save this for another time. So, first one is Idolish 7. If you guys don't know, over in, like, Japan, they have this thing called... they have what are called idols. They're like musicians, but it's, like, also kind of different. Well, I was, like, looking for something to watch on Crunchyroll, and I decided, hey, why don't I watch something that has to do with music? And I found Idolish 7. I found out that Idolish 7 is also a rhythm game, but it is about these 7 boys who all have their own dreams and aspirations, and they want to become the best idols that they possibly can. And it can get a little cheesy at times, but it's just the perfect amount of cheese. It's got all the drama, all the heart you want from an idol anime. And the 7 main boys are so much fun. And what I really like is that what they did is they had all the boys be inspired by music notes. And they like keep with this theme, and they also like all have a color. It's really fun. There's also really, really great music. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is not just because it's really great, but also because it needs our help. So, there's this series. It is a stop-motion series called Tiny Chef. And the Tiny Chef is the most adorable character to ever character. Jad, have you seen the Tiny Chef before? Okay, he is this adorable little guy.
No, not yet.
He is, of course, a chef. I'm going to share a video with Jad so he can see what I'm talking about. But he's just this character, and he's like very positive. There's a lot of videos of him singing songs. And see, the chef doesn't really talk like we do. So when he's singing these songs, it's just singing him in his little chefy way, and it's absolutely adorable. Well, he had a show on Nickelodeon, but for some reason they decided to cancel it. So Chefy needs our help, and there's some good news. They have raised $80,000 already in like the span of like I think maybe like 3 days. Because stop motion takes a lot of time. And like the show was doing really well. I think it was even nominated for an Oscar, but unfortunately Nickelodeon cut the. I don't know what it was. It did really well, so yeah. But
Decided
like, guys,
to cancel
just,
it for
also,
whatever
like, if you
reason.
ever need like a little serotonin boost, Tiny Chef is perfect. When I post this episode, I will post links to where you can help support Tiny Chef, where you can watch him. He is on Instagram and YouTube. So like. Also, if you want something that's, like, really fun and, like, short and sweet to watch with your kids, something that's probably not going to, like, destroy their brain, this is, like, the perfect little thing. It's just so sweet and charming. So, yeah. Help save Chef. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and okay, my recommendation. First off, it's a game I've been hooked on ever since I got the Switch 2, Mario Kart World. Yeah, and it's no surprise I'm recommending this. Like, it's the latest installment of the Mario Kart series. Well, of course, you play as Mario and several other characters from the franchise over the years. Ooh. And in a twist, this one takes place in a large open world sandbox. So what changes is that in Grand Prix, not only are you racing to the courses, but you're also racing on the highways to the next course. So much like a non-stop race. And also included is a new mode called Knockout Tour, where you race from one corner of the map to the other. And you gotta make it into a certain rank on each segment of the race, otherwise you get knocked out. And also free roam mode, where you just explore the entire map on your own with no race or anything. But you can also find a lot of secrets like question blocks, like switches that activate challenges. Here's and secret medallions hidden throughout the world. Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it's just I'm just hooked on it. Like Mario Kart games always tend to be great, and this one is no exception.
So. Oh.
Maybe that Game Boy Advance one. And yeah, and my second recommendation is one I watched on a little friend group during movie night. John Carpenter's The Thing. You would have loved it. And especially, it focuses on in the Antarctic, where these researchers are stranded.
Alaska, isn't it?
At let's see,
Antarctica. That's even worse.
yeah, it's it's Antarctica, and Dylan and Miss run in with some Norwegians and a sled dog. They begin to realize that this dog isn't exactly what it seems. It's actually an alien and creature that's able to mimic anything it digests and kills. And what's even worse is that if this creature makes it to civilization, it could assimilate all life on the planet within hours, which causes one of the doctors to just destroy all the vehicles and communication devices, insisting that they have to die with this thing, which could be anyone, which leads to a lot of paranoia and distrust. Us. Like it is, and also, like, the film didn't do well at the box office, mainly because it was considered too dark and nihilistic. But it got on. It was replaced as animation in horror film, especially in creature flicks, as it focuses heavily on paranoia and mistrust. It is definitely an amazing movie, and The Thing, it's very creative. Like it's all done with practical effects, and it can be a mismatch of anything. And as it shapeshifts and just it has these tendrils coming out of it that hook up onto its victims, and they digest it by injecting them with stomach acid.
Yeah, I think this is I think a lot of people consider it to be John Carpenter's best
and a must for horror fans.
Yep. All right, this is a really obscure one. It's
that's it for this episode. What are we reviewing next time, Rudy?
Right. That is what the film is called. Twice Upon a Time. Not Once Upon a Time. Twice Upon a Time. All right, so you guys get ready. We will see you next week. Bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.